that it was the British financial system that was responsible for the preservation of chattel slavery in the U.S. South. And Time magazine tried to deny that that was the reality. They claimed it was a conspiracy theory that the British supported the slaveocracy of the South, which is absurd. It's very well documented. The British wanted to send their navy to break the blockade of the South. They wanted the cheap cotton. When we hear about slaves picking cotton, who were they picking it for? They were picking it to put it on ships and send it to London and Yorkshire so that the British textile industry, with which British imperialism was dominating the world, could have cheap cotton. The British Empire and the slavocracy of the South were economically tied in with each other, and Wall Street was a stronghold of pro-slavery sentiments. Most of the North was anti-slavery, but Wall Street, New York, was pro-slavery. Why? Because Wall Street, right? Why was it called Wall Street? There was a giant wall and there was a giant slave market there at one point. But after slavery was abolished in the state of New York, slavery continued to be a huge source of economic strength for the finance houses of Wall Street. The finance houses of Wall Street insured those slave ships that were going to Britain, and they invested in the London Stock Exchange. And the insurance cartels and the financiers of Wall Street were heavily involved with this system. And Wall Street and London were very much key in propping up the slave system of the South. You would not have had slavery maintained in the South if it hadn't been for the economic support that was provided to slavery by the British Empire. And Henry Charles Carey knew this. And Henry Charles Carey wrote a very important pamphlet called A Harmony of Interests, where he called out the English system. That's what he called it. He called it the English system. And he talked about an economic system where the wealth of the world flows into one mighty city, where he talked about how in India they were underworking the Hindu and reducing the rest of the world down to his level. They talked about depopulation, and that dominating the world via a mighty navy, controlling the trade routes in order to enrich one mighty city, this was the English system. Henry Charles Carey argued against it, that there was the American system. And I should just read to you. I quote in the book that I wrote about the danger of an American years of lead. I quote what Henry Charles Carey wrote. The way he ended his very powerful pamphlet about the English system versus the American system. So I will just read it to you. I might as well, right? He wrote, "Two systems are before the world.